Ako, pagkapasa na ng ng tawag dito, need mo na yung palit para sa MS mo.
Oo nga po, ma'am.
Dali, ayan. Para sa thesis writing. Okay, sandali. Wait lang, ayan. Fish nutrition, feeding, ayan. Kita na po?
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay, sige. Wait lang, mag-mute muna ako. Okay, Sir JC, pa sabi na lang sa akin if the next ko, ha?
Yes, ma'am. Opo.
Okay pa.
Okay. Ma'am, can I start na po?
Yes po, you can start na.
Okay, good evening po sa lahat ng nandito ngayon. Actually, kinakabahan po ako eh. But I personally chose this topic because for the last 4 years, I've been doing this fish nutrition and feeding. So I was assigned and still assigned at the feed development section of SIPDEC. So, ma'am, next slide po. So, of course, we have to define nutrition. So, it refers to a series of processes by which an animal takes in and utilize food substances for maintenance, growth, reproduction, and other productive functions. So, bakit po siya series of processes? Kasi yung nutrition po is speaking generally dahil hindi siya yung basta lang tinutunaw ng or ina-absorb ng isda yung kinain niya. It's a series of processes from the capture of food to the stomach, the activity, metabolic activity, and then to the release of the feces. Yun yung series of processes na sinasabi sa nutrition. And fish nutrition and feeding play important roles in the sustainable development of aquaculture. So that's true because the next sentence, feed is the largest component of the total cost of production. So sometimes and the majority, it accounts to up to 80% of the total cost of aquaculture production. So speaking of nutritional requirements, it varies depending on the fish size and age. So of course, when we speak of nutritional requirements, for example, tilapia, the smaller the size, kasi species specific to no, yung nutritional requirements, but my example is tilapia. So kung size ang pag-uusapan, of course, we all know that yung maliliit na isda or the fry and the fingerlings requires higher amount of crude protein for their better growth and survival. So age also is a factor for the nutritional requirements of fishes. So of course, just like the size, when fish age, the crude protein or the nutritional requirements decreases. Now, not all, but in majority of the fish species. So we have also the reproductive conditions. Of course, when the fish is a broodstock or used in the hatchery, it requires higher amount of crude protein. And actually, specialized nga yung feeds sa mga hatchery because nandyan yung marami siyang vitamins and minerals because for the better gonad development. So of course, we have also the feeding habits. So mamaya malalaman natin bakit factor ang feeding habits, but feeding habits like kung ano yung kinakain ng isda, etc. is affect the nutritional requirements that they need. Ma'am, next slide po. So ito yung feeding habits and behavior ng mga isda. So actually 5 to sa book na kinuhanan ko. Meron pa siyang planktivores and detrivores, pero na-chop ko na lang into 3. So actually review na lang to kasi alam na natin lahat to at napag-aralan natin ng college. So we have the herbivores that feed exclusively on plant materials. The example is milkfish. We have also the carnivores that feed exclusively on animal matter. The example here is a sea bass. This is a sea bass. And then we have also the omnivores and omnivores. So they derive their nutrients from both plants and animals, such as Nile tilapia or tilapia. Next slide po. So another classification of feeding habits is the manner that the fish are acquiring their food. So we have the number one, predators. So actually predators, it can be associated with carnivores, but not all. No. So predators kasi fishes that feed on macroscopic animals. But like I said, not all. Kasi may mga predators na iba yung manner ng pagbuhay. So we have also the grazers that feed on bottom organisms or planktons that are selectively consumed. So ito naman yung mga kumakain ng mga, I think, seagrass sa ilalim. No? So grazers sila. And we have also the strainers. So filter organisms, mainly diatoms and crustacean from the water. So I think one example of that is the bighead carp. So one of the reasons why bighead carp grow faster, it's because it is a strainer. It's strain food 24/7. Kung sila magutom, strain lang sila. Pinasal lang niya. So we have also the sucker or yung sinasak niya. They are in mud or food containing material to obtain their food. And the less or the last is the parasites, so such as lampreys and hagfishes. So that is the 5 feeding habits based on the manner of how the food, how the fish rather acquire their food. Next slide. So feeding habits, and this is one of the example of the feeding habits of some fishes and shrimp. So I get these references from a book of from SIPDEC. So for milkfish, we have the feeding habits. So Microphagus, Plankivore. So the natural food, of course, we know that lab, or sometimes filamentous green algae. So sea bass, carnivore, grouper, carnivore, and so on. So we have the shrimp, omnivore, and so on. So ano ba ang kahalagahan nitong pag-aaral ng feeding habits sa topic natin ngayon? Nga pala nalimutan kong sabihin, since kasi nasa feed development section ako, ang more i-discuss ko dito ay feed formulation na usually ginagawa ko. Pero kung ang naging speaker nyo ngayon ay more on natural food, malamang ang discuss niya ay yung subculture ng natural food. So malawak kasi ang fish nutrition and feeding. So dahil nga ako yung naging lecturer, yun. So ginawa ko more on feed formulation. Next slide po. So ito yung fish digestive system. So actually, I know na all of you are pinaggawa din ng college na nagsukat ng length ng intestine relative to that total length. So ang tawag doon ay relative gut length. So bakit yun mahalaga? Kasi iba ang relative gut length ng different feeding habits. For example, carnivores. So we can say na maikli ang kanyang relative gut length. For the omnivores, mas mahaba sa carnivores, and for the herbivores, yun yung pinakamahaba. No? So ito yung the figure, the photo here shows the 4 different fish species with its corresponding gut length. So for the letter A, we have the rainbow trout. So carnivore siya. Makikita natin mahikli lang talaga yung kanyang gut length. So for the letter B, we have the catfish, omnivore. So yung gut length niya mas mahaba, and then pahaba hanggang sa letter D, sa milkfish. No? So mamaya malalaman natin bakit mahaba ang bituka ng ang gut length ng herbivores compared sa carnivores and the omnivores. Next slide po. So ito yung feeding process ng isda. So we have the appetite and satiation. We have the arousal, location and identification, capture, taste, testing, and swallowing. So hindi ko nilagay sa PowerPoint pero may notes ako dito. So for the appetite and satiation, we have the biotic factors and abiotic factors that affect the appetite and satiation. So number one, the food availability and the food distribution which may be seasonal in nature. And number two, competition. So actually, I noticed this or yung na experience ko siya sa pag-aalaga ng isda. So kasi kapag may competition, especially pag meron talagang bully o yung mga nating shooter, hindi ibirap talaga yung ibang isda. Okay? So for the number 3, yun nga, the presence of predators. Sa number 4, the physiological condition such as starvation or motivation level. Sa number 5, selection of prey. So kung ano yung gustong kainin ng isda. And number 6, handling causes stress in fish. So syempre, appetite and satiation, apektado siya ng handling natin. That's why, di ba, it's a must that before transferring the fish, you should not feed them 1 to 2 days. And then after naman na may stock sa pond, sa tank or sa lake, sa cage rather. So mag-aantay pa tayo nang hindi agad basta-basta pinapakain yan. So biotic factor yan. So for the biotic factor, mostly ang nandito ay mga water parameters like DO. So may mga species ng isda na hindi kakain kapag mababa ang DO. So experience ko din yan. Let me share that yung nalagaan namin na ayungin, nag-aalaga kami ng ayungin or nag-experiment ayungin. So pag bumaba kasi yung DO niya, talagang pansin ko ang baba ng appetite nila eh. And also temperature, ito one of the important factors to sa appetite and satiation ng isda. Kasi pag malamig ang panahon, syempre maano sila, hindi sila ganong active. Unlike kung optimum yung temperature, mas magana sila. Pero pag naman sobrang init, hindi rin eh. So dapat tama lang. So in my own experience sa fish pond before I joined the SIP deck. So yung mga farmers, this is not by the book, no, pero usually kasi may mga tanong sa board na situational eh. Parang hindi mo naman nabasa sa libro pero kailangan na-experience mo ba sa fish pond or sa fish cage, na-experience ko yun sa board. So for example, ang fish pond fish pond caretaker, malamig ang panahon or bare months, inaantay nilang uminit muna, nipapatanghali bago magpakain. Now, in the contrary naman, kapag summer, inaantay naman, maga pa lang pinapakain nila, mga 8 to 9. Hindi na sila napag-aantay ng sobrang init ng tanghali. Kasi nga, wala nang gana yung isda. So that's what I'm talking about. We have also light intensity. So of course, may mga isda na ano bang tawag doon sa panggabi? Kalimutan ko na. Basta, ano bang tawag sa panggabi? Ma'am Precious, ano bang tawag? Nocturnal. Yes. May mga isda na nocturnal na gabi active. No, pero in some cases, pwede mo siyang i-manipulahin. Lagyan mo ng cover para dumilim. So that ang mangyayari nun, so magiging active siya kasi mamamanipulate mo na yung light intensity na para maging gabi yung surroundings, parang ganun. So we have also the unionized ammonia, nitrate, nitrite, phosphate. So, dapat nasa level lang sila na acceptable. So for the next, the arousal and search, we have the Pavlovian conditioning. So ano 'to yung Pavlovian conditioning? Actually na-experience ko din to personally sa fish pond. Yung mga yung Pavlovian conditioning, kino-condition mo yung isda. For example, time. Mula stocking hanggang katapusan, hanggang grow out, 9 ka nagpapakain. Pagkadating ng 9, yung mga isda active na sila. So, kino-condition mo sa matter of conditioning. No? So another thing is the sound. My experience also in the Batangas, and I was a fish cage technician. Sa sound pa lang lumalabas na yung mga isda. No, so that is the Pavlovian conditioning. We have also the location and identification. So kaya yung ibang mga feeds, no, especially for shrimp, kailangan mabango, maamoy for them to locate easily. Especially sa mga territorial na seas ng isda. For the capture naman, of course, it's a matter of the size of the food. No, kaya nga may mga iba't ibang size ng pellet para sa iba't ibang size ng isda. So for the taste and testing, actually nakita ko 'yan, no? Kasi one time nag-experiment kami na gumawa kami ng feeds na hinaluan namin ng ipil-ipil. I think if I'm not mistaken, 15 to 20% of the diet ang dinadag namin. Pinakain ko sa tilapia. Alam niyo, napansin ko, talagang niluluwa ng tilapia. Ayaw niya, nire-reject niya. So, pag kinapture kasi ng isda yung feeds, titaste pa niya yan. And then, it's a matter of taste testing. So, kung gusto niya, reject. Kung ayaw niya, reject. Kung gusto niya, i-swallow niya. And then, up to saturation. No? So, the cycle continues. Next slide po. So ano ba yung mga essential nutrients? So we have the protein. So the protein is built up of amino acids or made up of amino acids. So the essential amino acids, we have 10, and it is the most expensive source of energy. So mamaya malalaman natin. We have also the lipids or the fats. So supply essential fatty acid. So yung mga linoleic, omega-3, omega-6, omega-9, yan ang sinusupply ng lipids. We have also the carbohydrates, which is the cheapest source of energy. Ito naman yung sugar na kinokonsume ng isda. So dito sa carbohydrates, dito nagkakaiba-iba yung mga isda. Diyan natin makikita mamaya kung bakit may feeds na or yung may species ng isda na mas marami dapat ang animal source ng protein kaysa plant-based. We have also the vitamins and minerals that are required in trace amount. So maliit lang, I think 1 to 2% of the diet enough na. Minsan nga 0.5 lang eh. Kasi bakit in trace amounts? Kasi yung protein natin na source, meron na kasi yung vitamins and minerals. So, supplement na lang itong dinadagdag na vitamin mix and mineral mix na available in the local market. Next slide po. So, ang source ng nutrients ng isda, of course, we have the natural food and the artificial diets. So, natural food, ito usually ginagamit sa hatchery. Vital to sa hatchery. Kasi pagka naging 1 day old na larvae ng isda, wala pa yung true stomach or it can consume artificial diets. Talagang natural food ang kailangan. So, mahalaga yung natural food sa hatchery, and the artificial diets, mahalaga din in the hatchery and in the grow out. Next slide po. So, for the natural food or live feeds, so for the plants, we have the microalgae or the phytoplankton like chlorella, the Chlorella vulgaris, Chlorella sorokiniana, many more. We have also the spirulina platensis, Nanochloropsis, ano ba mga microalgae? Yan, madami sila. So may mga kanya-kanya silang function. May kanya-kanya silang way paano paramihin. May mahirap, may medyo mahirap lang. We have also the macrophytes. This is the aquatic weeds, macrophytes. So macrophytes, examples, the water hyacinth, the water cabbage. So for animals, we have also the rotifers, the Brachionomus. In SIPDEC Binangonan, we use Brachionomus rotundiformis because it has a smaller size compared to other live feeds, animal live feeds. We have also Cladocerans, Moina and Daphnia. Hindi yung Cladocerans, maganda yan eh. Maganda yung pampakain sa first feeding. So we have also the brine shrimp or the Artemia nupli. Ito naman yung talagang available siya I think madali siyang madali kasi titimplahin mo lang, lagay mo sa salt water, antayin mo ng 24 hours, mag-hatch na sila. No? And available siya in can in the local market. Unlike this sa rotifers and caducerans, talagang paparamihin mo siya in the lab. Indoor and sometimes in outdoor in mass production. We have also the coffee pods. And ito, Chubipex. Gamitin to sa eel. We have I think 2019 we have the eel, the culture of eels, the Anguilla bicolor pacifica. We use this Chubipex as the first feeding for the glass eels of Anguilla bicolor pacifica and Anguilla marmorata. Next slide po. Hello. So for the zooplankton, ay ma'am, back slide po. Ay, back po sa previous slide. Ay, hindi pala. Next slide na pala. Okay po, sorry. So for the zooplankton nutritional value, kailangan alam din natin yan. No? For the larval feed, the example here is Artemia, Brachionus, Moina, and Chubipex. So yung sinabi ko ngayon ng nutrients, like the protein, ito crude fat, yan yung lipid. The crude fiber, itong NFE, ang ibig sabihin yan ay nitrogen pre-extract or the carbohydrates ng Artemia. For example, carbohydrates ng Artemia, 25.1, and the ash. So kung makikita natin dito, crude protein, Moina ang pinakamataas. That's why magandang i-first feeding ang Moina kasi yung taas ng kanyang crude protein. While in the crude fat, mataas ang Chubipex. No, so kaya pala maganda to sa eel kasi ang taas ng kanyang crude fat. And mataas din naman ang overall mataas naman ang kanilang crude protein lahat from 47 to 64. So for the NFE or the nitrogen pre-extract, okay din yung value and also the crude fiber, mababa yung value. Mababa yung value kasi animal source siya, zooplankton siya. So ang crude fiber kasi mostly nasa plant-based source. Next slide po. So for the microalgae, we have the Chlorella vulgaris, Nanochloropsis, and so on. So ito yung kanilang mga references and the crude protein. So kung makita natin, spirulina ang pinakamataas, 60 to 71 ang crude protein niya. Kaya maganda talaga yung spirulina din actually hindi naman talaga ginagamit most of the time yung tawag ito, yung microalgae as first feeding. Ginagamit lang yung microalgae as feeding for the live feeds like rotifers para yung rotifers dumami. Pero sometimes ginagamit, pero most of the time ganoon ang ginagawa. Next slide po. So dito na tayo sa artificial diet kasi hindi naman wala akong alam sa konti lang alam ko sa natural food. So dito sa artificial diet, meron tayong dalawa. We have the incomplete or the supplemental diet and we have the complete diet. So anong pinagkaiba nila? For the incomplete or supplemental diet, we have it supplement the nutrients fish obtain from natural food. Contains high level of energy, low in protein levels, and with or without vitamins and mineral supplementation. Actually, itong supplemental diet, ginagamit lang to kapag mayroon naman talagang natural food in the rearing water. And if you are using extensive culture. Kasi kung mayroon ng natural food, i-supplement ka lang. Kasi yun, nakalagay nga dyan, contains high levels of energy. So mostly, ang laman ng feeds mo, more on energy and low in protein levels. So masama ba yun? Not really. Pero ang kagandahan nun, matipid siya. Kasi kung more on, di ba, protein source is the most expensive source of energy. So kung mas high yung level ng energy, mas cheaper. And also, isusupplement mo lang naman kasi yung rearing water meron ng natural food. Unlike in the complete diet, which contains necessary nutrients, it's adequate amount of energy to meet the nutritional requirements of the species and the use in high density culture system. Ito na yung ginagamit sa mga intensive culture ng pag-aalaga. Like in Pampanga, in tilapia culture there, and in Pangasinan, in milkfish culture, complete diet ang ginagawa, ang pinapakain from the different feed companies. So, yun ang pagkakaiba nila. So, nasa word naman, incomplete and the complete diet. Next slide po. So ano ba yung mga protein source na ginagamit? Actually, madami to. Ito lang nilagay ko. So for the animal source, we have the local fish meal, the tuna fish meal, shrimp meal, squid meal, blood meal, meat and bone meal. Itong shrimp meal, baka iba yung alam yung name, pero it's also called acetes, or the acetes species ang ginagamit sa shrimp meal. So mataas ang crude protein kung makikita natin, up to 87%, no? So ang pinakamababa 46. Crude fat or the lipid profile is also very good. Crude fiber ang ganda, mamaba. Ang ano man term doon? Ang isa lang na negative sa protein source, sa animal source, is that yung NFE niya, yung nitrogen free extract niya, mamaba. Ayun. So in the ash, okay lang naman. So for the plant sources, for the copra meal, cowpea meal, rice bran, soybean meal, and the departed soybean meal, makikita natin na hindi ganun kataas yung crude protein, hindi rin ganun yung crude fat, hindi din ganun kataas ang crude fat, and mataas yung crude fiber kasi nga plant sources siya. And yung kanyang NFE or yung nitrogen free extract niya, or yung carbohydrate source, yun ang mataas. That's why in feed formulation, kailangan paghaluin mo ang animal at plant source. Kasi kung animal source lang ilalagay mo, sabihin natin lalaki nga isda, mas mahal. Mamaya malalaman natin. Pero I think yung kasing carbohydrates, ang purpose niya is that ini-spare niya yung protein na gamitin sa locomotion, sa mga paggalaw-galaw. Nire-reserve niya yung protein, animal source, ay yung protein para sa growth. That's why yung carbohydrates na present sa feeds, yun ang ginagamit sa locomotive activity ng isda. So that's why kailangan paghaluin ang dalawa, animal and protein sources. Animal and plant sources. Next slide po. So dito naman, amino acid requirements. So the amino acid requirements vary depending on the fish species. So for the arginine, histidine, so magkakaiba yan. Hindi natin masyado tatakal diyan kasi masyado yung malalim. Pero on the next slide, may tataka kayo, anong tatanong natin, paano ba nakukuha tong amino acid na required ng isda or yung optimal? So next slide po. So ito yung paraan para makuha yung amino acid requirements ng isda. Through the use of the growth response curve. Ito yun, growth response curve. Since amino acid is since protein is made up of amino acid and protein promote growths, therefore amino acid also promote growths. That's why dun sa quantitative amino acid requirements ng isda, kung hindi pa alam ang amino acid requirements ng isda, ginagawa sa experiment yan. So for example, sa tiger shrimp, pinakain siya ng graded levels ng phenylalanine for 8 weeks. So makita niyo sa curve na doon 1.4 ang kanyang optimal. Kasi kahit tumaas pa siya, kahit itaas pa yung level ng amino acid sa 2.12 for example and 1.82, mas mataas yung growth ng sa max na 1.4 na inclusion. Dito naman sa baba, growth response of tiger shrimp had graded levels of methionine for 8 weeks. So ito naman yun, nandun siya sa breakpoint na 0.89. So ganyan mag-experiment ng amino acid. Lahat ng ipapakain mo sa isda na lahat ng treatment ay magkakaparehas except dun sa ina-experiment mo sa experimental unit or dun sa pinag-aaralan, for example the amino acid. May share ko lang, meron may experiment sa Binangonan. Varying protein naman sa ayungin. Kasi nga, hindi pa natin alam ano bang protein requirement ng ayungin. So, pinag-aralan namin. Gumawa ako ng 6 diets, 20%, 25%, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. So, 6 diets yun. Pinakain namin sa ayungin. And the results are good. And we were able to determine the protein requirement of ayungin. So sayang lang hindi ko ma-share ang data kasi hindi pa siya publish. Kailangan publish na kasi dito. Pero maganda. And then our next experiment is burying lipid naman, burying lipid. So that's how you got the different requirement of fish. Next slide po. Nangulit yung anak ko. So for the optimum dietary protein levels, so iba-iba siya. So species specific pa rin. So kung mapapansin nyo, ano mapapansin nyo dyan sa figure, mapapansin nyo, mas mataas ang required protein levels ng carnivorous. Ito, carnivorous tong Asian sea bass eh. So common carp, omnivore, pero 31 to 38. Then grouper, to carnivorous din. So bakit ganun? Bakit mas mataas ang protein levels na kailangan ng mga carnivorous fish? It is because yung kanilang stomach ay walang enzymes para i-digest yung carbohydrates. Meanwhile, sa mga herbivorous and omnivorous fish species, mas mababa ang kanilang required na protein level dahil meron silang mga enzymes para i-digest yung mga yung carbohydrates na nasa feeds. Kaya nga mapapansin nyo sa mga fish species, mas mataas yung requirement na protein ng mga carnivorous compared to the herbivorous and omnivorous one. So yun yung reason. And yun nga. Next slide po. So lipid requirements. So sinabi ko kanina, lipid is the oil or the fat. So lipid aids in the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins. So di ba we have the water-soluble and the fat-soluble vitamins. So yung mga fat-soluble vitamins, kailangan syempre ng lipids para ma-absorb ng katawan. So may use a mixture of animal and plant source. So yung lipid source, meron ding animal source and plant source. So kasi sa processing ng fish meal, meron yung mga napipiga na liquid. Or yun nga, yun na yung tinatawag na oil. Na animal oil and the plant oil. So for the production of the soybean, yung katas na yun naging oil. Okay? So ang requirements ng lipids diet is around 4 to 6%. So mababa lang. But still, yung lipid gives twice energy as the protein. So maya malalaman natin. Next slide po. So for the carbohydrate requirements, so carbohydrates hindi lang siya source ng energy, ng sugar. Siya din ay binder sa pellet. So binabind niya yung pellet para maging intact or yung consistency niya or tumagal siya sa tubig. Especially sa mga isda na territorial like the giant freshwater prawn, kailangan sa mga shrimp, di ba? Or the Pinays banami, ang feeds niyan kailangan intact, matagal sa tubig. Kasi actually specialized nga ang ginagamit sa mga ganong feeds mga karaji ng ganon. While in some feed formulation, you can use just the cornstarch, the wheat flour, ganon. For the floating feeds, it requires 25 to 35%. And the example of carbohydrate sources, we have the rice bran, copra meal, starch, wheat flour. So dito sa Philippines, siguro kailangan natin itap yung ating kasi mayaman tayo sa rice bran eh. Siyempre, pag anihan, murang rice bran. Pag tag niyog, murang copra or the copra meal. So yun yung mga bagay na dapat in-explore to replace the use of the most expensive fish meal. Actually, may ginagamit na nga kami. I'm not sure pero I think it is developed by a university in the Philippines. The protein enriched copra meal. So yung copra meal, yung crude protein niya napataas pa, napa-enrich pa through the process. I think fermentation ang ginamit na process. Pwede naman kasi yon kasi 'di ba sabi ko kanina may soybean meal. Meron namang deputted soybean meal. Yung soybean meal, pag ginawan mo ng ether extraction, makukuha mo yung oil. Pag nawala yung oil niya, tataas yung crude protein. Kaya mayroong deputted soybean meal at mayroong regular soybean meal. Next slide po. So for the vitamins and minerals, makikita nyo na talagang trace amounts lang. So 6 milligram lang yan. Hindi yan gram. Milligram, 10 milligram. So trace amounts lang kasi meron naman yan sa ibang ingredients, dinadagdag lang. Yung ash ng mga ingredients kanina, yun meron yung minerals ng ash. So next slide po. So ano ba yung choice or ayun, paano pumili ng feed ingredients? So of course, the cost is a factor and the commercial availability. Bakit factor yung cost? Kasi para mapalaki yung isda, pwede naman tayong gumamit ng fish meal na lang or squid meal na lang, lahat na lang animal source. Pero pag ginawa mo yun, for example, the feeds in for tilapia range from 40 to 50 per kilo. Pag ginawa mong lahat animal source yun, baka yan madoble, maging 100 per kilo. So wala nakikita yung farmers. So sa choice of feed ingredients, nandyan din yung commercial availability. Kaya nga yung ibang mga research ngayon ay parang hindi pa ganong I think ma-materialize because of the commercial availability. No? Magiging, for example, the results are good in the experiments, but the next thing is, ang magiging problema, how to mass produce the feed ingredients. Something like that. So for the nutrient composition, ito, kailangan din to para sa choice of feed ingredients. So, for example, meron akong tinulungang estudyante, sabi ng nagtisi sila na gamitin yung clowneye fish as fish meal replacement sa carp. I think common carp ang ginamit namin. So, of course, inalamunan nila kung ano yung nutrient composition ng clowneye fish. The protein, the crude fat, the crude fiber, yung value niyon. Para, kailangan mo kasi yung value ng nutrient composition para makagawa ka ng feeds. Kung anong ilang percent sa diet ang ilalagay mo. Okay? And also, merong nutrient composition, mahalaga yan sa crude fiber. Meron kasi mga feed ingredients na sobrang taas ng crude fiber, hindi talaga magamit as feed ingredients. Kasi crude fiber, hindi naman yan digestible sa isda. So, nutrient digestibility and bioavailability, ito yon sa crude fiber, sa digestibility. And the absence of nutritional factors and toxic substances. So trypsin inhibitor, phytic acid, mimosine, thiaminase, marami yan. Actually, itong trypsin inhibitor, present to sa soybean meal. Pero, present nga siya, pero upon processing ng soybean meal, the roasting, the grinding, the sieving, nasisira naman. No? So may mga process naman paano tanggalin yung mga nutritional factors. Pero syempre, kailangan alam mo pa rin kung gaano kataas yung toxic ng feed ingredients. Kasi for example, may isang feed ingredients na okay naman yung nutritional composition, mataas ang protein. Pero yung kanya namang pesticide residue, mataas din. So hindi mo rin siya magagamit sa feed ingredients. Something like that. Next slide po, ma'am. So merong mathematical models para gumawa ng feeds. We have the Pearson Square method. I think siguro alam na ng karamihan to kasi napag-aralan to ng college. I-review lang natin. We have also the algebraic equation method, the trial and error method. Ito yung number 3 yung ginagamit ko paggawa ng sa sometimes. The linear programming, number 4. So next slide po. So for the Pearson Square method, of course may square kasi Pearson Square. So example 1, magko-combine tayo ng dalawang feed ingredients. So the instruction is to determine the amount of each ingredient in a supplemental feed that would contain 25% protein using fish meal and rice bran with protein content of 63% and 10% respectively. So yung fish meal merong 63% good protein and rice bran merong 10%. So anong gagawin? Yung 25% na target na crude protein, lalagay mo sa gitna. And then, ima-minus mo yan. 63 minus 25. And then, 10 minus 25. So, wala yung negative. Tatanggalin yung negative. So, i-add mo yun. 15 plus 38 is 53. And then, yung 53, kukunin mo ngayon yung percentage niya. 15 divided 53 times 100 is 28.3% fish meal. So yun na yung inclusion ng fish meal, and 71.7% ng rice bran. Yun naman yung sa rice bran. So 71.7 plus 28.3 is 100%. Dapat 100% ang result niyan. So para ma-check, fish meal, so 283 grams. Kasi nga 28.3%, pag gumawa ka ng 1 kilo, 283 grams yan. So yun yung madaling compute doon. So times 63% ng 283 grams is 178.3 grams protein. Kasi nga may 63% protein ng fish meal. And likewise, sa rice bran times 10%. So pag inad mo yan, 253 grams per kilogram. So 253 grams per 1,000 grams or 25% protein. So that is how you combine two feed ingredients. I think nakikita kong disadvantage ng Pearson square is that you only account the protein. Protein lang ang minimix mo. Hindi mo ina-account kung ilan ang crude fat, ang crude fiber. So basta naka-focus ka lang sa protein. So for the example number 2, paano naman kung marami ang ating combine? Meron na tayong 4. And we want to use again the Pearson square. So dito gagamit tayo ng proportion, no? So we assume the proportion of 1 part fish meal to 2 parts soybean meal. Actually sa example na to, bakit 1 part fish meal and 2 parts soybean meal? Ito kasi madaling computation. And let's assume na mas marami kang soybean meal kaysa fish meal. Kaya 1 part ng fish meal, 2 parts ng soybean meal. And for the rice bran is 1:1. Okay? So ganun 'yon. Next slide po, ma'am. Ayun, hindi ko pala nailagay dito. Pero dito, gagamit ulit tayo ng Pearson square. Doon sa taas, fish meal plus SBM, 50 na ngayon yung kanyang naging crude protein. Ma'am, can you go back po sa previous slide? Sorry po. Dito, kasi nga 1 part na fish meal lang ginamit, so 1 times 60 yan. And then 2 parts ng soybean meal, 2 times 45. Kaya naging 60 plus 90 is 150. And di-divide mo sa ilang parts. So you have 3 parts kasi nga 1 tsaka 2. So 150 divide 3 is 50. And then we have also 8 plus 12. Kasi nga 1:1. 1 times 8, 1 times 12. 8 plus 12, 20. Divide 2, 10. Next slide po. Kaya naging 10 at 50 to. Yun. Okay? So sa 35% na crude protein na hinahanap natin, minus ulit, ganun ulit, minus. And ayun, 62.5% ang sa fish meal at soybean meal, and 37.5% ang sa rice bran at copra meal. So paano natin ma-check? Sa fish meal, 62.5 ang percent nila, times mo sa 1/3. Kasi nga, one part lang 1 part sa 3 parts. So 20.83% or 208.3 grams per kilogram times 60%, so 125 grams ang contribution ng fish meal. And likewise, sa soybean meal, ganun din ang gagawin. And pag inad mo yan, ayan, 100%, 1,000 grams, and 350 grams lahat yon. So 350 grams divide 1,000 grams is 35%. So yun yung paggamit ng Pearson square. Next slide po. So dito naman sa algebraic, actually hindi ko gustong algebraic kasi mahina ako sa algebra. Pero it's a matter of x and y. Now, pag ganun din, for example, yung example sa number 1. So we have to determine the fish meal tsaka rice bran pagkasamahin natin. And then 25% protein. So we have to let x the gram fish meal per kilogram feed, and the y is the gram rice bran per kilogram feed. So we have the equation 1. So we will assume, of course, x plus y is equals to 1,000 grams. Then we have the 0.63x kasi 63 grams yung protein content ng fish meal. And then we have the 0.10y for the 250 equals dun sa total na kailangan 253 grams protein. Equation 2. Actually, ang nangyari dito, minus yung equation 3 sa equation 2. Pero ang pwedeng gawin dito, actually, ang turo ng teacher ko nung high school, it's a matter of cancellation, yung parang sa mag-multiply ka ng both sides to cancel to cancel yung isang value. So ang pagka minus mo yung equation 3 sa equation 2, ang magiging results ay of course mawawala yung y. So 0.53x equals to 150 grams. So mangyari yung 0.53, i-divide mo sila both ng 0.53 para makancel yung 0.53 ng x. So magiging 150 grams divide 0.53. So it equals to 283 grams fish meal. Okay, sana nag-gets. Actually hindi naman usually ginagamit ng algebraic. Pwede ka na mong mag Pearson square. Okay po. Next slide po. So substitute in equation 1 para ma-test natin kung tama. So 283 grams plus y. So it's a matter of yung substitute, yung lilipat mo yung 283 grams, kaya magiging minus siya, magiging negative. So magiging minus. So y, so 1,000 grams minus 283, we have 717. So to check, ganun ulit kagaya kanina, and we have 253 grams per kilogram or 25% protein. Next slide po. So trial and error method, ito hindi naman talaga siya actually kailangan may video to dapat. Pero for the trial and error method, a worksheet and a table of approximate composition are necessary. So dito, kailangan ang ginagamit namin ay Excel. So Excel. Ang gagawin mo diyan sa Excel, di ba? Yan, lagay mo ingredients, approximate composition, and then kailangan mo lang ilagyan ng formula para pag gumagawa ka ng page, kung naka-formula na yan, kaya nga siya trial and error. Pag naglagay ka ng value sa fish meal, halimbawa, naglagay ka na ng value dyan lahat dyan, 100% na. And then yung crude protein ay 30 lang, pero ang gusto mo ay 32. Pwede kang may baguhin para mabago yung total. Kaya nga siya tinawag na trial and error method. So, kailangan mo mag-try and mag-try. So, yun. Next slide po. Ito naman, actually ako lang gumawa nito, no? So hindi ito published na galing sa book or ito, wala, experiment lang ako. Ayan, ako gumawa niyan. So ginawa ko 20% ng sardine fish meal. So paano ba nakukompute yun? So 20% ng sardine fish meal, ang crude protein niya ay naging 109.4. Kasi itong value na to, 54.7, ay yan ay 54.7 grams per 100 grams. No? So kung 20% yan, times 2 mo lang. No? So ito naman, 2%, dahil ito ay 78.5 yung sa squid meal, times mo lang sa 0.02. Kaya ka nakakuha ng, 0.2 rather, 0.2. So yan yung parang trial and error. So pwede nyo i-try sa Excel, using your laptop para makapag-formulate din kayo ng feeds. And you will notice, no, may mga feed ingredients na walang fish meal or walang crude protein, walang value. Of course, vitamin mix and mineral mix, walang value, walang nutrients dyan kasi it's the sole purpose of providing vitamins and minerals. Kaya vitamins lang talaga siya, wala siyang protein. So sa soybean oil, wala siyang protein pero 100% ng crude ng soybean oil ay crude fat or 100% niya ay crude fat siya. So dicalcium phosphate wala talaga siya pero it's a source of phosphate in the diet. Actually it's a vital in tilapia feed formulation. So for the rice bran in other ingredients na kumpleto, ito pala, you will notice na yung cornstarch ang baba ng crude protein, ang baba ng crude fat, pero yung kanya namang NFE or nitrogen free extra kaya taas. That's why it's a good source of carbohydrates in the diet. Next slide po. Ito naman linear programming, hindi natin hindi ko to ma-explain ng maayos kasi hindi pa rin ako nakagamit nito. Pero ang paliwanag lang dito is ito yung ginagamit ng mga feed company. Kasi ano yan parang program, parang SPSS, kailangan mong bilhin. So bumibili ang mga feed company ng ganyan, ng program na ganyan, ng app, na linear programming, para kung hindi available yung isang feed ingredients, yung computer mismo ang maghahanap ng solusyon para baguhin yung formulation at magkaroon ng formulation na kagaya nung the last one. Kaya ito yung isa sa sa parang isang way para consistent yung paggagawa ng feed sa linear programming, yung linear programming. So again, ano yan, parang SPSS yan na binibili na app. So hindi pa ako nakapag-ganyan. Next slide po.
For at least feed formula.
So for the feed
Excuse me po, sir. Nakamute po. Thank you po.
Na-mute pala. For the feed preparation, the feeds must be attractive and nutritious. And of course, yung attractive and nutritious, kailangan, actually, ang layman's terms, kailangan amoy isda para kainin agad ng isda. Okay. So, suitable particle size and texture. So, kailangan yung papakain mong particle size ay angkop. Hindi ka pwede magpakain ng 3 mm na pellet sa fingerlings kasi hindi naman yan malulunok. Of uniform length, okay, size pa rin yun. Free of cracks or pines. Pag kasi free of cracks, hindi siya madaling madurog. Stable in water for a few hours, so at least 6 hours in case of shrimp feeds. Yun nga yun, kasi yung shrimp feeds, kasi nilalasahan pa niya yan, and also they are territorial. Kaya, ang shrimp feeds kasi, or ang shrimp, inaantay kasi nilang lumambot yung feeds. Pero hindi naman pwede malagay ng malambot na, baka matunaw lang. So, durable enough to withstand handling. Ang feeds kailangan, pag hinawakan mo, hindi agad matudurog. Hindi rin naman sobrang tigas na hindi mo naman maputol. So, tama lang. So, ang pelleted diets, we have the two. We have the floating or the extruded, or ito yung dumaan sa extrusion, and the sinking type of pellets. So, sinking type, we have the moist pellet, yung hindi dry, and the dry pellets, yung dry sa oven or sa feed dryer. Next slide po. So ito sinama ko na rin, although sana ma-appreciate niyo po. Kaya picture lang. Feed preparation now, we have the grinding, kung mag-outsource ka ng feed ingredients. Pero kung bibili ka naman, may mga available sa local market in powder form. So kung mag-outsource ka, number 1, grinding, isisib mo, kailangan powder kasi. Then weighing according to the formulation, mixing of dry ingredients, wetting with oil and water, kailangan i-wet yan ng oil and water para maging dough, para maging clay, dough yun. And then pelleted using a food grinder. Number 6, next slide po. So, 7 is drying. Of course, ito yan, yung nakita niyo sa picture is the improvised feed dryer in the Binangonan Freshwater Station. Number 8 is packing. Pagtapos ng drying, hindi mo lalagay sa plastic or sa container. Hayaan mo siyang lumamig. Kasi pag nilagay mo sa plastic, mag-accumulate ng moist. Magkakaroon ng amag or masisira yung feeds, magiging rancid. So sa packing, indicate mo yung feed type, for example, diet 1 or tilapia feeds, and then the date kung kailan mo ginawa. Kailangan importante 'yon kasi may expiration ng mga feeds eh. So yun, next slide po. So feeding management naman, so at lower stocking density, as in the extensive culture, the natural pond productivity is important. Just like yung makita sa figure. So sa extensive, marami siyang natural food. Tapos pababa siya dun sa intensive. While dun naman sa fish stocking, mababa siya sa extensive, vice versa naman. Parami naman siya sa intensive. Kasi marami ka naman pwedeng ilagay talaga eh. Yun naman talaga yung definition intensive, marami kang nilalagay. So sa artificial feeding, maliit yung nasa tip yung extensive kasi meron ka na maraming natural food, and then marami or malapad yung space dun sa intensive. Kasi more on, magsusupply ka tayo ng artificial diets kasi nga marami kang nilagay ng isda per unit area ng paglalagyan mo. Next slide po. So ano ba yung mga feeding strategies na ginagamit? Actually ito, pond lang yung nilagay ko, pero meron yung mga cage eh. So in pond aquaculture, the feeding strategies used are the production of natural aquatic food, just like the lab or the lumot, the filamentous green algae. So number 2, feeding supplemental diet. So actually ang supplemental diet, pwede yan na fermented rice bran or actually may gumagawa nga na yung chinap na or yung na-grind na isda, nahaluan pa nila ng rice bran or copra meal, tapos pinapellet para maging para mas may pakain as supplemental diet. May mga gumagawa nun. Feeding a complete diet, so na number 3. Ito naman yung complete diet. Next slide po. So the feeding management, the number 1 is the sampling and record keeping. So ito mahalaga. Basically, mahalaga ang sampling. No? In my time sa Pampanga as fish pond technician, we sampling every 2 weeks rather. Sometimes every month. Kasi doon mo mai-adjust yung daily feed ration. At ang paggamit ng feeding rate, doon mo rin mai-adjust. For example, after 1 month, nag-sampling ako sa tilapia. And 8% ang gamit ko. And then after another month, dumoble yung laki. Of course, hindi na 8% ang gagamitin mo. Bababa ka na sa appropriate na feeding rate ng size ng isda na yan. So some useful parameters na nire-record sa fish pond is the pond number. So may mga kanya-kanyang pangalan ng fish pond na yan. Fertilizer, ano yung ginamit? Animal stock, feed, water quality, and others. So sa water quality, usually naman CK disk, mahalaga din to. Water exchange rate. Actually, sa mga fish pond, meron sila talagang hindi mawawala yung kalendaryo na may tidal, may tides, kung ano yung high tide, low tide, ganun. Time and duration of paddle wheel, operation if use, ganun. So yung sa others, yung diseases, actually nininote naman talaga ng mga caretakers. Yung mga masisipag na pag may namatay, ninonote talaga. No, lalo na kung konti lang yung stock mo kasi pag kasi patay na, dead na, hindi mo na note at nandun ka pa rin na kinukumpit mo yung number ng stock mo doon, pero bawas na pala, tataas ang FCR. Yun na. So next slide po. So feeding ration, ito mahalaga to sa feeding management. So various methods are used to estimate feed ration. These include calculations based on the use of feeding charts, feed equations, and growth predictions. In order to calculate the daily feed ration of the cultured animal, data on average body weight and the estimate survival rate at a given time are needed. So paano ba kumpitin yung daily feed ration? So kailangan mo ng average body weight. Kasi kaya magsasampling tayo. Pag nag-sampling tayo, kailangan natin alamin yung bilang ng sinasampling natin, bilang, and then weight. So, di-divide lang natin yun. Total weight of sample and total number of sample stock. Andun yung average body weight. For example, nag-timbang kayo ng 500 grams, tapos 10 piraso, so 50 grams ang average body weight. Survival rate, ito naman yung number of fish. Actually, survival rate in the fish pond, mahirap tansyahin yan. Except sa mga tangke, nakita mo talaga. Pero usually kasi sa field, may share ko lang. For example, yung napuntahan ko dati sa Pampanga na binabantayan kong fish pond, consistent na ang survival rate ay 80. So 80 ang ginagamit namin. So it's a matter of experience and of course diskarte ganun. So ang pag-compute ng daily feed ration is the original number of stock times average body weight times estimated survival and times feeding rate divide 1,000. And in short, kunin niyo yung biomass in kilogram and then times sa feeding rate. Yun lang yun. Kasi yung biomass nandun na yung estimated survival, average body weight, tina-times din yun sa biomass. Next slide. So feeding management includes the feed particle size. Ito, mahalaga to. Ang shifting ang mga pellet pala, meron niya na number 1, una, yung prime mash muna. Hindi yun pellet. Mash lang yun, powder yun. Mataas ang crude protein nun. We have the number 2, the crumble, or iba-iba yung size. Kasi nga, kaya tayo gumagamit ng crumble para maiwasan yung, kasi mag-ship ka agad. Kakain na nga yung iba, paano yung iba na naiwanan? So, you use crumble. You use crumble para maiwasan yung size variation. We have also the pre-starter, the starter, the grow-out, and the finisher. Yun yung mga size ng feeds. Ngayon, yung pagpapalit ng feeding, ng feed particle size ay nakadepende din sa size ng isda. So, for example, yung 30 grams na tilapia, kaya na niya ng pre-starter. Something like that. Kaya lang, minsan kasi hindi yan sinusunod kasi ang mahal kasi ang pre-starter. Pagliit kasi ng pellet, paghirap gawin, pagmahal. Unlike yung ibang grow-out feeds. Next slide po. So yung feed application methods, mahalaga din to. So the choice of feeding methods will depend on the following factors. Una, labor cost, scale of farm operation, species being farmed, type of holding system, and the hatchery and grow-out operations. So dun sa labor cost, actually, sa mga small fish pond, for example, 1 hectare, nag-hire lang yung may-ari ng isang bantay, isang caretaker, para broadcast lang, siya mismo mag-broadcast. Medyo rin laborious, pero at 1 hectare, medyo manageable. So, scale of farm operation, yun nga, kung malaki yung farm mo, I happen to see the way of feeding in Bulacan, sa mga bangus nila, they use demand feeder para sa mga bangus. Species being farmed, so ito, iba ang method ng pagpapakain sa tilapia. Iba nga sa bangus, yun nga, yung kailangan ng demand feeder. Iba din sa mga shrimp. Actually, naka-experience na ako magpakain ng Banamay . Meron kami mga feeding tray. Kasi sa Banamay, kasi nga dahil sila ay mga nasa ilalim lang, hindi mo na makita, unlike tilapia. Kailangan mo malaman kung naubos ba nila yung pagkain. Kaya kailangan natin ng feeding tray. So yun yung mga method. Depende kasi sa species yan na inaalagaan. So type of holding system sa pond, sa cage or the tanks. Ito sa tangke, pag naalaga ka, mostly marami ka talagang papakain. Pero sa pond, usually kung maganda yung preparation, kung maraming natural food, nababawasan. Yun yung mga pagkakaiba. Kasi sa tangke, lalo kung indoor yan, ano talaga yan, hindi ka aasa sa natural food. Clear water lang yan. And then sa cage, actually here in Laguna Lake, hindi nagpapakain ng mga tao dito, ng feeds, because they rely on natural food available. Abundant naman sa Laguna Lake, sa lake area. Hatchery and growth operation, so magkaiba ang pagpapakain. Actually sa hatchery, based on my experience in my training in Central Luzon sa Muñoz, parang 2% lang kami magpakain ng 2% feeding rate ang ginagamit namin sa mga broodstock na tilapia. So feeding application can be either manual or mechanical. So yun nga yung broadcasting, and you can also use the demand feeder. So sa ibang bansa, I think nakapanood ako ng YouTube na mga high-tech na talaga. Next slide po. So performance measure, paano ba mini-measure yung performance ng feeds? Para syempre malaman natin kasi ang purpose naman ng pagpapakain ay para kumita. Growth survival and FCR are the major indicators commonly used to measure feed efficiency. Feed efficiency ang sinusukat . So biomass, this refers to the total weight of species being cultured. Ito nga yung sinasabi ko. So kilogram to per hectare. And then the feed conversion ratio is the lower the FCR value, the better the feed utilization. So I think alam niyo na itong FCR, pero ito pa rin yung formula. So yung pinakain, divide sa nagain na weight ng isda. So for tilapia, for example, 1.1 to 1.25, ang ganda niyan sa fish pond. Actually 1.5 kung intensive, maganda pa rin . So in bangus naman, nagre-range na sa 1.8 to 2.2. So iba-iba ang FCR ng bawat species. So species specific din FCR. kagaya ng ng other factors na species specific. So the lower the FCR, the better. Bakit? Kasi pag 1 ang FCR mo, ibig sabihin 1 kilogram na feeds ang kailangan mo para makapag-produce ka ng 1 kilong isda. So 1:1, ratio yan eh. So kung ang FCR mo ay 2, 2 kilo ang feeds na kailangan mo para sa 1 kilong isda. Ang madaling compute diyan sa field is that kung ang presyo ng feeds ay 30, for example lang 30. Tapos ang nakuha ang FCR ng tilapia ay 2, for example. So 2 times 30 kasi nga 2 kilo ang nagamit mo sa 1 kilo eh. So 2 times 30, 60. Eh pero kung ang tilapia ay 55, wala na, lugi ka na. Parang ganun sa simple computation that used in the field. Iba kasi sa science sa kung sa paper yan, scientific, iba din sa field based on my experience. Next slide po. Ayun pala. This is my references no. Book to. Nutrition and Tropical Aquaculture by CIFDEC, May 2002. And I also see this I also saw this in the internet. The important live food organisms and their role in aquaculture. So next slide po. Ayun. So there is no elevator to success. You have to take the stairs. So para sa pangtapos po na remarks, I just like to say na 6 years ago, nakagaya din po ako ninyong lahat, nakikinig ng lecture, bago mag-take ng board, nakikinig ng lecture, nagre-review, and here I am now, 6 years past, nagle-lecture na rin. So do not lose hope and continue to review and to ask God for the guidance. Yun nga, there's no elevator to success. You have to take the stairs. Walang shortcut. Thank you very much sa inyong pakikinig. Salamat po.
Thank you so much, Sir JC, for sharing your valuable time with us tonight. Okay, so ito class nakita nyo kanina sa references si Sir JC, yung galing sa CIFDEC. Now, nung nag-review ako, kasi restricted yata siya sa internet, you have to access, parang ano yata, magta-type ka ng letter, i-address mo lang sa library sa CIFDEC, and then magpo-provide sila ng soft copy sa inyo. Marami yun sila class na na parang different topics about aquaculture. So, try nyo i-search. Tapos, if hindi nyo siya ma-access, for example, yun kanina sa isang reference, ano ba yun? Nutrition in Tropical Aquaculture. So, this is in CIFDEC AQD sa Tigbawan, Iloilo. So, in their library, merong ganito. Okay? Meron na silang mga soft copy. Marami yan silang topics actually. Culture ng tilapia, culture ng milkfish, culture ng vaname, daming mga commercially important species. However, you have to request. May time, parang kailangan ko tong topic na to. Ni-request ko talaga siya. Nag-letter ako. Mabilis din naman silang mag-respond. Tinatanong nila if para saan ba, ano yung purpose. But, one condition is you are not allowed to disseminate it na sa iyo. Kailangan mo rin ng permission nila. So, for example, may kaibigan ka na gusto din ng ganitong copy, mag-ask din ng permission from CIFDEC kasi copyrighted yan eh. And of course, we have to abide by the law. Wala pa naman tayo sigurong narinig na nakulong dyan. Pero mahirap na. Okay? So, any questions po from the mentees, students? Do you have any questions? Reminder ha, attendance and evaluation sheet, please accomplish.
Ma'am, ito po yung book. May hard copy ako.
Sana all. Ayan.
Ma'am, makapal siya. Actually, ilang page ba to?
Okay. Pero ayun sinasabi ko siguro na mayroong different topics. Tama ba?
200 plus page. Opo, maganda po yung book.
Oo, yan yung book.
Actually, parang may price. Pagka po hard copy kasi, ang gusto nyo, may price. Pero I think talaga nare-request siya sa...
Nare-request? Oo. Yan yung title. Nire-request yan? Okay, I have a copy class, but I'm sorry, hindi ko pwedeng maano sa inyo, matawag dito, ma-share sa inyo, ma-upload sa Google Classroom. It's because nga, sabi ko, merong copyright copyright infringement mangyayari if ginawa ko yan. So, yan lang yung tip, ask CIFDEC. Mag-email kayo sa kanila. Okay? I-search nyo kung saan site na pwedeng mag-request sa kanila. Kayo mismo yung mag-request. Okay? Ayokong ma-shock na lang ako, meron na nag-email sa akin, nireklamo ako. It's because nag-upload ako ng material not intended for for public dissemination. So, questions? Meron po bang questions ang lahat? Tawag dito, wala kayong tanong, ibig sabihin naintindihan ninyo. Okay.
Buti na lang po, walang tanong.
Okay, so before we tawag dito, mag-mock exam muna tayo. Tingnan natin muna, Sir JC, how did they fare dito sa ating quiz. Tingnan natin, ha? Okay. Can you see the link for the mock exam class? Possible ba na mag-invitation gaya kanina sa board exam? Yes. FCR, feed tawag dito, feed formulation. But mas madali, in my case, I used Pearson din. Pearson Square.
Ma'am, nung nag-take ako ng 2016, may nasamang 5 tanong na computation.
Puro computation. So you can never know talaga. Aquaculture, merong computation. Pagdating sa post-harvest, merong computation. Pagdating sa capture, merong computation. Yung alam ko lang na hindi ako nag-compute sa sa aquatic echo. Ayun siya. Class, pa-accomplish ng mock exam para makita namin if merong improvement sa inyong scores. Ngayon, nag-worry na kayo sa computation. Yes, merong computation. Yan yung purpose nga, nagdadala tayo ng calculator para mas mabilis ang pag-solve. And also, utilize talaga yung binibigay na, tawag dito, na parang scratch paper. Kasi doon kayo magsusulat eh.
Scratch paper.
Oo. Okay, sige. Attendance sheet, i-upload ko later. Doon nyo siya ma-access sa mga hindi maka-access. Yes, pwedeng magdala ng calculator. Yung kanilang, isearch na lang kung ano yung accepted na calculator.
Ma'am, yung dapat po hindi programmable.
Okay, hindi programmable. Okay, so ayun. Yes, pwedeng magdala ng calculator. Actually, hindi ko rin naman nagamit yung calculator ko eh. Kasi bobo rin naman ako sa math talaga. Parang more on common sense lang yung ginawa ko.
Ma'am, kami din po, nang hula na lang.
Oo, hula na lang. Kasi kulang na sa tarif.
Apat lang naman po yung mamimilian, so may 25% chance.
Ayun, ako lagi, if mamimili, lagi si letter C. Letter C lagi. I believe on the power of C. Okay, na-open nyo na ang link, please pa-answer, and pwede tayong mag-open ng ating cam so that we can take a picture with our lecturer para makita naman niya yung mga gwapo at magagandang mukha ng ating mga participants. Ayan, ang fresh pa kasi mga fresh graduates mostly.
Ma'am, ba't nung fresh graduate ako, hindi ako fresh? Joke.
Ay, meron kami, Sir JC from URS. May mga mentees kami dito from URS. University of Rizal System, may mga students from Rizal. So, ayun siya. Naka-screenshot na ako. Thank you. Okay, so, pwede na tayong siguro, but answer the link ha. Hingi ko sa inyo, answer the link para ma-assess namin if meron pang improvement sa inyong scores. Okay? Now, meron tayong recording. Ma'am Pat, pa-stop na po ako ng recording natin. The recording will be uploaded on the Google Classroom.